Hi everyone, I'm very excited about this technique. I haven't used very much, but I certainly intend to use it in the future. And no, I haven't left a mess after I last was painting, but these are what I'm going to be using. Sponging without a brush. These are the things I have been using. It's old tissue paper. I may not use that this time. This was in a shoe box, you know, when the shoes are wrapped up in paper. But these three here are probably what I'm going to use, like Clingfilm. All we need to do is just scrunch them up and they can become like sponges. So I'll put those over there. These are some examples I've been looking at. This was watercolour I used, just experimenting. This was a sort of abstract experiment where I put wool on, sewed some wool onto this paper, this watercolour paper, and here I wet part of the paper and left part of it dry, and it gave a nice natural feel and almost like a nautical theme, I thought. Then I sprayed water and some of the texture disappeared, so I have to be a bit careful not to add too much water, but we can use this technique on dry or wet paper. And then this is acrylic inks, so I thought maybe we could do some acrylic inks today on this umbrella tree. I've put some wool again, found a lovely little wool shop in Portugal, and so nice to see the old-fashioned little shops, and I just sewed it on with a big needle and just put some pencil in for the tree, the umbrella tree. And I've got my pastel pans here, so I'm going to just make a suggestion of an atmospheric background. That could be some grass or something, some nice foliage. Bring it up slightly. And then some blue for the sky, pastel pan, ultramarine, the yellow was Hansa yellow. These are just makeup sponges. To suggest some sky. Something like that. There's no right or wrong, it's just having fun experimenting, really. There. I've got lovely juicy olive green acrylic ink here, and Chinese blue and Sanguine. So I'm going to start by screwing up this cling film randomly and then dipping it into the olive green acrylic ink. Now I'll probably get a blob, nice dense markings with this, If I want finer markings, I could dab it on some kitchen roll, but I'm happy with the denseness of it, so I just stamp it on. If I want finer marks, I just hold it very lightly. But for denser marks, I press down firmer. I think that'll be okay. I love these umbrella trees. I've also put on, I should say, a little wax stick I used to crayon in a few whitish areas, rendering the lighter branches, the lighter colour branches. Very easy and ever such fun. It's exhilarating. I definitely want to do this again. I've done it with natural sponges, but I've not really tried it with just any household materials. So I'll leave that for now and try some ordinary kitchen roll I've just screwed up into a ball. I'm going to do some Chinese blue now, dip that into there and go into the areas that will be not receiving so much sunlight. In fact, this is quite good because it can, I'm going to actually get rid of some of it. Some of the paint and some of the ink. It renders the look of little, I don't know if you can see, but little twigs, which I quite like, rather than the Clingfilm, which is good for the foliage at the top. But underneath you get all these lovely textured twigs underneath the foliage. On the umbrella tree, you get these lovely textured twigs lower down the canopy. So I think I might actually draw that down as well. Just pull it down a little bit. This is the trunk area there. Perhaps I could put a little bit of markings in the foreground area, something like that. And now I'm going to use, this is the old cartridge paper that I've had a pad for years of it, and I've just torn off just a little tiny piece of old cartridge paper, and it makes really nice bolder markings, which I'm going to use on the trunk. So at this stage I should say I could actually add some spray, but I'm going to keep it all dry at the moment anyway. So I'm going to, yes, I'll go into the Chinese blue again, so that's the sort of markings I'm going to, that's the markings I get from that. Very different to the ones that I've had so far. It's very freeing, I find, not using a brush sometimes. Sometimes I find I get bogged down in with detail and get a bit lost, but this is just very relaxing. I don't have to think much, and I hope I've encouraged you to have a go yourself, because it's very easy. And so now I'm going to add I could mix that into the brown. I think I will actually. Now that will be very heavy, but that's okay because I want it to be in the darker areas here where the sunlight doesn't really reach the lower part of the canopy very much. And then I'm going to bring it down into the trunk area. And I think I actually will add a little bit of water spray now. Let's have a think. Yes. So I've got my trigger spray, not much, just this is a risk really. I'm prepared to take that risk. Sometimes we have to take risks. Oh yes, that's fine. I can turn that upside down. Let's see what happens. Not a lot. So I need a little bit more. Not much more. Otherwise it might end up being a mess. Get it down into the trunk a little bit more, and then up. It's looking very brown. Yes, I like that. So what I'm going to do now is just get some ordinary kitchen roll and scrunch it up again and just dab out some areas like that, blot out perhaps a little bit there. Well, I could perhaps add a bit in the foreground. Yes. Okay, so far you can see how easy it is to do this. You could use watercolours, as I say, or pastels, ink tints, blocks. You could let this dry and then go over it with pastels, or there's just so many things. You could even cut the wool off and you'll be left with nice white areas underneath. It's a bit abstract, but I quite like that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please like and or subscribe. Take care and see you next time. Rolls of reds, greens, blues, yellows and turquoise arrested my fascinated gaze as I peered through the little shop window. My appetite whetted, I crossed the threshold and entered excitedly, looking at the vast array of soft wools before my eyes. And behind an old-fashioned counter was the twinkly-eyed, aged shopkeeper. I had stepped back in time, it seemed, in these delightful lanes of this Portuguese town. The turquoise wool purchased portrayed an enchanting, rustic umbrella tree trunk and large branches in the painting I had begun. The wool may not have been used in a conventional manner, unlike happy days spent with Granny, trying to teach me her traditional knitting skills with her various size knitting needles. But I think the fun of watching the inks trickling across the added wool texture on my watercolour paper suits me better. A highly significant jigsaw piece of my life flashed before me as I rose from my dreams next morning to start the day. Yes, the difficult challenges encountered had become like the calçadas, a beautiful type of Portuguese pavement created from small pieces of stone arranged in a mosaic pattern. Yes, life can resemble a jigsaw or tapestry, but sometimes we can become aware of the knots on the underside rather than the beautiful masterpiece on the top. When I look at the umbrella tree, I'm thankful for God's protection and transformation of the things I found so difficult. Granny told me the sharpness of the fine needles was nothing compared to my sharp elbows as I sat upon her lap as a child. Oops. Happy painting.